Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Hey, podcast listeners, it's Gracie House, Pilma's Director of Operations and Marketing. I wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast with Pilma's founder, Ken Hardison. I also wanted to extend a personal invitation just for you. This year, we're hosting the Pilma Super Summit in Denver, Colorado, and we can't wait to see you there. The fact that you're tuning into this podcast tells me you're a law firm owner serious about growing your practice, and that is why this is the event that you can't afford to miss. Over 3.5 days, you'll learn cutting-edge marketing strategies, innovative management tactics, and hear from the brightest minds and most successful attorneys and law firm owners in the industry. It's an experience that will inspire you, energize you, and give you the tools to take your firm to the next level. I'd love for you to join us and connect with fellow growth-minded attorneys who share your drive. But don't wait, seats are filling up fast. Head over to pilma.org/summit today to reserve your spot.
Hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the great pleasure and honor of having Steve Fretzin from Chicago with us today, and we're going to talk a lot about how to get business from other lawyers. Thank you for being here, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ken.
Steve has written 2 books. He's a coach for lawyers on how to get business, how to build a practice, growth. I'm probably leaving something out, so if anything I left out, let me know.
Well, I'm a family man. I'm a coach. I have a podcast called Be That Lawyer, where you've been on before and will be on again soon. And I just spend my time working all over the world helping lawyers to figure out the stuff they never learn in law school, mainly how to grow a successful law practice and sustain it through a career.
Okay, good deal. So I often hear lawyers in my masterminds, we talk about it, and some of them have the gift of just being able to get other lawyers to refer them cases, and some just have a really hard time. What would you tell those people? How do you go about getting other lawyers that are not practicing in your area to send you cases?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's something that comes up all the time with my clients and with the folks I network with. And I'm going to give you a couple different answers that I think will be really valuable to the people listening. Number one is not all lawyers are created equal as it relates to referability. Right. So if you're an estate planning lawyer, there are going to be certain other lawyers that are going to be more applicable for you to work with. For example, family law attorneys are going to be better for you than, say, a big firm corporate attorney. They're probably not going to be, referring too many estate plans out. So I think, first of all, you have to look at sort of who's surrounding you, where your business comes from, what lawyers are surrounding you with the same types of people or clients that you are looking for. So let's isolate 3 to 5 different categories of practice areas that are, again, around your realm of the kinds of clients you want and that you work with. The other is that not all lawyers are created equal as it relates to their understanding of networking and their ability to network and be a giver. So for example, if I'm going back to estate planning attorneys, but I'm an estate planning attorney, someone says, hey, I really need a divorce attorney. My wife is, cheating on me and I need some help. And I say, well, I don't do that, but good luck to you. Okay. So again, some lawyers don't get that they need to be of service and of value by building a network and being able to refer other attorneys. And in some states, many states, there's referral fees that can accompany that. But ultimately, I think lawyers need to think about how to put their clients first, whether they can help them directly or not. And so having a good network of other people around you that can take those referrals, I think is really important. So not all lawyers are, again, created equal as it relates to their understanding of how to network, how to be a giver. And so you're really looking for the right targets in practice areas, but then also in their ability to understand networking and refer. So that's kind of the starting point.
Yeah, this is many, many moons ago, longer than I like to admit. I had like 13 lawyers in my firm. And so I made a list, and for my intake department, in every county, we were in 20 counties, but I had a lawyer or 2 or 3 in each county for, like, we did personal injury, workers' comp and disability. In all other practice areas, I had 2 or 3 people. I said, refer these people to these lawyers, because I knew they were good And I think that what I wish I had done and what I would tell people now is actually connect them to the lawyer so that the law firm knows it actually came from you.
Yeah.
Because I think that was where I dropped the ball, to be honest with you, Steve. I don't think I got enough credit because we just give them their name and their number. And I think what I should have done was either connect them or did an introduction email or something. I don't think I carried it far enough. I think I dropped the ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's possible. And hindsight's 2020. The ultimate goal, I think, of lawyers is to find referral sources that you can send people to where you know they're going to get taken care of and that have the ability and the resources to send stuff back to you. So you have this reciprocal sort of, verbal agreement that, hey, I'm going to send people your way, you get it, and you're going to send people my way. And if everybody's doing their job, we can create quite a bit of business together, whether there's, fee sharing arrangements or not. There's business being transacted by good people who do good work.
Yeah.
But that's a piece of it, Ken. I mean, the other elements of it are many lawyers don't really know how to give a good referral. So for example, I tell you, I've got somebody for you and I give you their name and number and you call them and they don't respond. They're not talking to you. And so now you're chasing after someone that a name that I gave you and a number I gave you, and you're chasing after them. And now you're coming back to me and you're not real happy with me because that didn't work out. And like everybody's sort of lost in that scenario. So I'm always helping people figure out, okay, if you're going to get what I call a referral, which I say referrals suck. Like I think, somebody gives me a name and number, you might as well just send me on a wild goose chase. I say, hey, would you mind, I appreciate the name and number. Would you mind taking just a few minutes and just emailing or calling your friend, letting them know, what I do and making sure they do want to speak with me. And once they agree, then if you would make an email introduction, I can take it from there. So that's simple little things that I think lawyers sometimes skip steps or they skip little pieces that add up to business happening or business kind of falling through the cracks and not really understanding why.
Yeah. I mean, I dropped the ball. I mean, I should have been doing that and I didn't do it. So I dropped the ball.
Okay, you dropped the ball, but it's what can we learn and improve on that matters ultimately. Yeah.
And I think the big deal is, as I've always said, other people can learn from my mistakes.
I mean, that's everybody's got them. Nobody's error free, right?
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I like that. What else we got?
So I think that there needs to be let me put it, I have a great analogy I think you'll really enjoy. And I'm not a baseball fan, but this sort of works out. That I think lawyers need to be baseball scouts for lawyers that could be referral partners, strategic partners. So you're out in networking groups, you're out at the courthouse, your friends, your neighbors, all these people that you go up against, okay, in court, whatever it might be. You have to consider that they're all potential referral sources, but they're not all, again, created the same. So what I'm trying to suggest is you find someone, on the field that you see as a good baseball player. They can hit, they can run, they can catch, they can all the good stuff. That doesn't mean that they can play at the major leagues. So what I always recommend is when you meet a new lawyer and you say, you know what, this person could actually refer me. They're doing something different than what I do, but we're dealing in the same like client pond, okay? That you shouldn't put all your eggs in that basket. Don't blow them off and don't put all your eggs in the basket. Meaning I would give them something to do and try them out. Sort of like put them on a team and see how they play. If they perform, move them up to the next level, So that way, if you're looking for example, a personal injury attorney that will work well and can refer you back, give them something to do. See how they commit to something and then execute on something. So they're going to introduce me into a networking group, but then they don't email me, they blow it off and they don't follow through. Like that's demonstrating a lack of ability to commit and execute. That typically is a warning sign that this person's not going to do that generally. You can give someone a second chance. I don't know that I'd give people a third, but basically it's like, hey, they failed on the field and you really want to keep spending time with them. Do you really still want them to move them up into your major league if they're failing? So it's a lot about testing and qualifying the lawyers that you have in your life to see how they play ball and can they refer, follow through, check in or not. And so I think there's a number of, again, moving parts and pieces that allows us to not only identify the targets, but then qualify them to see how they play ball. Because to your point, I think you want 2 or 3 lawyers in each category, criminal, estate planning, personal injury, whatever it might be. And then but those are the ones that have been tested out. They're tested out that they can handle taking a referral and that they can provide a referral. And if you have 10 or 15 of those on your team, you're going to have a pretty good year.
Yeah. And I always used to tell lawyers another thing with not just being a good, craftsman at their job, but also I was really big on client service. And I would tell them that, if you don't give good client service, I'm not going to be able to refer you other people because it comes back on me, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're the one who referred them. It reflects on you. So that's why I'm saying, like, really test out the client service, the networking acumen, the ability to follow through with the folks that you're networking with. And it might be a 2 out of 10 ratio, meaning it's like dating, right? So like, how many girls did I have to go out with before I found the love of my life? It was not one or two. It's typically many. And this one I didn't like for this reason. This one I didn't like for that reason. This one said she was a non-smoker, but she's smoking like a chimney. Whatever it might be, you decide, am I going to go on a second date? And is a second date going to go to a third date? And eventually, am I going to get engaged? And I think we have to look at networking and development of strategic partnerships with other lawyers in a similar fashion. And if somebody fails to progress, then break it off and be friends if you want, but you don't have to keep investing time and energy in someone who isn't a good fit for your team or for your practice, for your marriage of partnerships.
Right. That's good advice. I like that.
Yeah.
So what else?
Okay. Sounds like a lawyer in a deposition. What else?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say another piece of this is how do we be a better giver? I think that there's a disconnect when you network with someone or meet with a lawyer that you think, hey, this is a great fit, but they haven't referred me. I wonder why. Because maybe we need to step up. We need to figure out how to connect others first. I think we need to build a relationship off of liking them, trusting them, and also being a giver. So when I'm sitting down with someone that I think could be, let's say for me, it's a legal recruiter. And so I'm asking a ton of questions to ferret out, who are you looking to meet? What size is it the firm or is it the individual lawyer? What size book do they need? What kind of attitude should they have? What area of practice should they be in? So that I can really isolate exactly who that person wants to meet so I can make a quality introduction, or who are the best connectors for you. And maybe I don't have a $5 million IP attorney that's looking to move right now because that doesn't grow on trees in front of me every day. But then she says, oh, I'm also looking to meet other recruiters that do associates because I don't do associates. They may not do high level partner stuff. And I network really well with them. I'm like, well, yeah, I got like 3 or 4 of those. And so now I'm being a connector and a giver first. And again, what I see is that if you can give first and be of use and value, then typically the reciprocation becomes that much easier to obtain.
Yeah, I think Cialdini wrote a book on that, on reciprocity. I mean, it's a big deal. That's what I preach about going to doctors. The PI lawyers, they like referrals from doctors. I said, don't go in there and just ask for a referral. I said, go in there and see what you can do to help them.
Yeah.
Or they having problems. It might be something dealing with the law, or it might be what is it that lawyers do that you hate? What is it would make your life easier? And then offer to do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think that
absolutely,
like you talk, it's a reciprocity. It's like they almost feel like they owe you something. Some do, some don't. But I'm saying you got a lot better chance if you do something like that, the giver, like you're saying, than if you're just a taker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the big challenges that lawyers have is they think they need to give a matter or a piece of business to someone. And I don't think that needs to be the case. If you're meeting someone for the first time, I would almost suggest don't give them a client. Because you actually haven't tested them out. They're still on the minor league or they're still on the playground. You haven't really tested them out yet. Back to my baseball analogy. Right. I would suggest inviting them to come to a networking group that you belong to, right? So somebody invited someone to a mastermind group as a guest. Okay, so that's one way to help someone else. Maybe you're sending them an article or information about something that you do that could be relevant to their clients that could be useful. Maybe you're inviting them to be on a panel or a podcast or involved in an article that you're writing. Like, think outside the box as far as how you can add value. Something that also people forget is help me personally. You don't have business for me? Okay, but you know that my son is going away to college and he's struggling with Yeah, I'm making this up, but he's going to college. But like let's say he's struggling with making the final decision about which one to go to, and someone that he could sit down with that would be super helpful, like a career coach. And you introduced me to the career coach. He helps my son get into the right school. That was super helpful. That counts. That's something that is so meaningful to me, maybe even more so than a piece of business you would have thrown my way. So I think we just need to consider that there's more that you can do to add value for others than just giving them work.
Yeah. I've often heard people say, if you can find somebody you got something in common with, like I've heard of some lawyers going out and going to canvass all the lawyers that went to the same law school or the same undergraduate and try to meet up with them, and because they got something in common right to start with to talk about. I don't know, have you ever seen that work? Or you?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you can find common ground or commonality with people, it's a great starting point. Does that build immediate trust? I don't think so, but it helps. So for example, we know some people are crazy about their college or their law school, right? Notre Dame, Michigan, Texas, like all these different schools. Alabama, oh my God, Ole Miss, all that. The people go crazy for their schools. So you have that built-in common ground and commonality. And I think that's a great way to sort of get the relationship started, but it needs to go then deeper than that. So what am I learning about this person? How am I helping this person? And then here's the thing that's missed too. So I get to know somebody, I help them, they maybe offer to help me, great. And then we sort of let things fizzle away. And then I don't see them again for a year, maybe ever. So I would suggest maybe setting up a game plan. So like, hey, I'm helping you, you're helping me. This is a great way to start. We like each other. This is great. Why don't we get together in a month? Let's schedule something right now to get back on track in a month. Maybe we go through each other's LinkedIn contacts. That's a nice thing. And now we can actually target out some connections that might be mutually beneficial. But let's schedule something now so that we don't miss the opportunity to stay in touch and keep this going. Because if you find someone that could be a player on your team, you sort of evaluate them on the field and then say goodbye. No, you got to put your claws into that player and bring them up, to the degree that they're able to. And so I think that's another small move that has big impact when you find someone that you think might be qualified to be on your team.
Yeah. Do you advocate or would recommend some kind of system for staying in contact with these people? Like for my past clients, I always say, send them a newsletter every 2 months. You know what I'm saying? Something, I call it top of mind awareness. What do you recommend so you can stay top of the lawyer's mind that you want business from and you want to send business to?
I mean, the best scenario is to have a CRM, right? To have a client relationship management tool that you're using and you can rate your contacts. No one knows that you're doing this but you. And you've got A contacts, B contacts, and C contacts. And the C contacts, they get your newsletter and that's about it. You stay top of mind and that's kind of all you're going to do with the C's. The B's that have potential to be A's, you're going to want to get together with quarterly, and you need to have a system of reminders or something that's going to pop up and say, hey, these are the 5 people you need to talk to quarterly because they have great potential. And the A's, you need to just be on top of every month, sending them a gift for the holidays, emailing them, newsletter. I think that you don't have to, be on top of 100 or 200 people. Newsletters cover that ground. I think there's 10 to 20 people that you need to have a list, and you need to have them rated, and you need to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. I'll give you a quick example. I've got Lawmatics software for the Lawmatics followers out there. And what it allows me to do is actually, rank the people in my life. So let's say podcast people, they're in a group, clients, they're in a group. I've got clients rated. So for example, I've got my A clients, B clients, C clients. So the C clients were the ones that didn't perform for me, for themselves. They did my program. They didn't really show up. They didn't do the work. Okay, I'm not happy about it, but I don't have many C's these days. That was more years ago. But how much interaction am I going to have with these folks who sort of failed themselves and failed me? And we're not going to spend too much time there. The B's did great, but maybe they don't want as much interaction with me as the A's. And the A's want to be involved in everything I do. So I'm going to have a system that sends them not a newsletter, but a personalized email, but I don't have to do it 50 times. It's through that software that they're all getting this personalized email that is for them, but I didn't have to do it 50 times. It was all done through Lawmatics. So that's like a great, and it doesn't look like a newsletter because I think people feel differently about newsletters than they do direct email,
Yeah.
right? It's not,
Yeah.
it's much more personal.
Can't remember who it was. It might have been Vern Harnish, but I can't remember. There's somebody I know that, and I think they call it Google Alerts, where you put in the people that you really want to connect with or try to keep and put their name in there. And every time anything goes online about them, it sends you a thing. And then you can sit there and text them or put it in LinkedIn or do an email congratulating them because it's usually something they've won or some accolades or whatever. Have you ever seen anybody do that?
Yeah, I've seen people do that. I don't think enough of us are doing that. I don't do that, for example, and I don't think that's something that we all probably should be doing. The thing that I've been hearing more about is like RSS feeds and Google Alerts on specific topics. So like if I know that you're really into fishing and you love hearing about, big catches that people make around the country, or you're big into bass or whatever it is, the kind of fishing you do, and I get Google Alerts on fishing in Alabama, right? And I know that that's what you're interested in, then I would send it off to you as hey, I saw this and was thinking of you. And my dad used to do that all the time with my teenage, my kid's a big fisherman, like loves fishing. We were just fishing in Austin, Texas, caught some beautiful bass. But my dad, that's the way my dad would connect with my son, was through sending him fishing articles. He would actually cut out the paper and mail them to my son. And they didn't have a ton in common, but that was one thing. So I think we can take that type of the technology that exists in RSS feeds and Google Alerts and leverage them for content or for individuals that when they get recognized as super lawyer or whatever, that we're the first one in to say, hey, congratulations and really happy for you, that type of thing. That's a great point there, Ken. I appreciate that.
No, I'm just, and I was thinking, I used to do this too. And it's harder because I was so busy, I couldn't keep up with everything, just to be honest. So I had my executive assistant call the person's secretary or assistant and try to find out, does he drink? What's his favorite wine or favorite booze? Does he like cigars? What's his favorite cigar? What's his favorite sports team? What's his favorite hobby? And then we'd try to make a file on them. And so that if something came up, we could send them something that would be, instead of just, something that would be personal that they would like for Christmas or whatever, or, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be a good way. Like I say, I don't do that now. I don't practice law anymore, but if you can do that, I think it can help. I don't know.
You don't have to practice law. I think anyone in business that has clients should know about them, about their family, about where they live, about their dreams, where they want to be, what is their favorite team, sport, interest, drinking, whatever. A friend of mine came over. I got a new house in the North Shore of Chicago, and I invited one of my friends over, and he brought a beautiful bottle of bourbon. And he knows I have a brand new bourbon bar because I mentioned it. And he brought over, I kind of laid the groundwork real nicely there, Ken. And he brought this beautiful bottle of bourbon. Of course, I cracked it open and drank it with him because he's also a bourbon fan. And we got to share that moment together. And, it just deepens the relationship. It shows how much he cares for me and knows me as a person and what I like. And then my wife came in and she's a big bourbon drinker. Now she's, grabbing.
So I got the big question is what was the bourbon?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it. No, it's,
what's your
I've
favorite?
got it in the back of my head.
What's your favorite bourbon?
I'm a Blanton's. I love Eagle Rare. I just love anything that's under 100 proof and is super smooth. And so I have kind of low highbrow taste, but mainly I go like day to day with the standards, the Basil Hayden, the Four Roses, stuff that's easy, $40 a bottle. So I'm not, draining my cash supply because we're pretty easy to please, but it's nice to be treated once in a while to a really nice bottle.
Yeah. I've got hooked on Woodford Reserve now.
Yeah. Woodford Reserve. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, it's all good stuff. The problem is that so many bourbons are unavailable. Like everyone's got, all these liquor stores have them in the back of the room and it's who and, people are buying them and then reselling them for, $1,000 or whatever. So it's really hard to get your hands on the stuff that's got a limited production.
Yeah.
Distribution. Yeah.
So, okay. Anything else? Any other sage advice?
I guess, when it comes to networking with other lawyers, I've covered a lot of ground. I would say to kind of put it all in a nice little bow is, do your best to work with and refer the people you like and enjoy that have the interest and capacity of reciprocating with you. Again, if that's of interest to you,
Yeah.
keep in touch with them, have regular touch points, continually say thank you. And by the way, keep your eye on them, because if 6 months or a year goes by and you've been feeding them business and they're not feeding you back, have a conversation. Say, look, is something going on? I've noticed, I've been continuing to feed you this personal injury work and you haven't really sent me many estate plans back. Is something going on? Oh no, I've just been busy and whatever. And it may be that you need to swap them out. Like that's why you have 2 or 3 in each category. It's also why you should never stop recruiting, because even if you don't have the capacity to serve a 4th and a 5th type of attorney with business, when one of them fails you, which eventually one might, you've got instant fillers that can go in and take the place of the one who failed. That's like someone gets injured on the baseball team, right? You need to have someone on the bench that you can bring up, more sports analogies. But I would just say you don't have to spend as much time recruiting as maybe you do at the beginning to get that team put together. But that doesn't mean you stop recruiting altogether. You always have to have the feelers out there.
Yeah, I agree. Well, listen, thank you so much. If somebody wants to, talk or get up with you or find out more about what you do or how you can help them, how can they get up with you?
Yeah, thanks, Ken. I would say 2 easy ways. Number one is my email is steve@fretzin.com. And also, if you go to fretzin.com/let's talk, that's a way to get an instant appointment with me. And what I typically do is spend 30 minutes evaluating your potential, evaluating your gaps. And if I can help you, I will. And if we're not a fit and you want to go a different direction, I'm a great resource. I know a lot of people like Ken and others that I can refer you to that may be a better fit for you if I'm not in a position to help through coaching and training to get you to the next level.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And we're recording this on New Year's Eve. So hope you have a great night tonight and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you, Ken.
All right. Till next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.